Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again in this YouTube astrological segment. I'm going to be talking about the moon square or opposition Venus in Synastry. Now, first off, on the unconscious side, the inner personality, um, which is the moon person, not generally not compatible with what the Venus person loves and enjoys, is how this aspect may manifest. Now, Venus person has their Venus in Aquarius. Say those things that the person loves and enjoys can include astrology, computers, the internet, innovation, electronics, meteorology, aviation, as some examples. Now, another thing is that there may be difficulty in expressing, the sentiments and feelings in general toward one another because the moon is connected with our feelings, and Venus has a connection with sentiments. So this aspect is not auspicious for the mutual, could say, expression of one's feelings, how they feel, and expressing their sentiments toward each other. This can when you look at this aspect, the the moon person may often not care about the Venus person's their self-worth, their self-esteem, how he or she feels about oneself. Whether it's through making remarks that are uncalled for, acting an abrasive manner, whatever it might be. The moon person might not always show that sensitivity to the Venus person in that manner. The moon person may really the thing is, not really, you have them, sorry, the Venus individual may not love that moon, so to speak, that moon person's unconscious side, that inner personality um, of the moon person. If say the moon person has their moon in Aries, the Venus person may be seeing a lot of that, the negative characteristics of the unconscious side of that person, of the moon individual, can include being overly combative or quarrelsome, disputatious, getting angry, provoked easily, overly abrupt, impulsive, impetuous, as some examples. Now, another thing too about the Synastry aspect is that you know, this thing, if the moon person is in a situation where he or she needs money, the Venus person may often not oblige or not be around to help the moon person. The moon person, the thing is, if the moods fluctuate or may fluctuate, that could easily cause, issues with the Venus person trying to attain peace, tranquility, and harmony in his or her life. Um, the moon, person, may frequently not, want that affection, from that Venus person. And the moon is also about nurturing, how one wants to be nurtured, and also nurturing in general. If the moon, say, a person has their moon in Gemini, that person may be nurtured, through intellectual means. It could be through assimilating information, you know, um, playing games that require mental agility, like haiku, as an example. Um, Communication, being able, doing many different things. Gemini is about variety. And the thing is, but the moon person, may not really feel often like nurturing. The Venus person, in that case, may not feel like those things that I described connected with the moon in Gemini, or even say being nurtured in that manner, because not from the Venus person, because it would be hard, because there isn't, you're talking about an adverse aspect that is formed from the the moon to Venus in Synastry. And the thing about this Synastry aspect too is that the thing is, if this is a connection, say if it's romantic connection or significant other, marriage partner scenario, the moon person may see the Venus person as overly flirtatious with other people, and it might cause exasperation on the moon individual's part. There might be, this is a thing too, where, I mean, if you have, the moon square or opposite, Venus in Synastry, what could make this tough more if this is that like two people are living, at home, with each other, and the Venus person may want to beautify the home, one person's home, and make it more attractive, and the moon person may not, or may be averse to that. It could also, I mean, when you look at synastry aspects in astrology, the thing to keep in mind is that, as I stated in my earlier videos on the natal chart placements, it's never to isolate any single one astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person astrologically speaking based on that alone, because the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. And the same applies to synastry aspects. One synastry aspect is certainly not going to make or break a relationship or connection. The thing is, and the moon square or opposite Venus in Synastry is certainly no exception. You're generally going to have a plethora of aspects between person A and person B, and you could have some aspects that can offset this one to some degree. Now, moon square or opposite Venus in Synastry, the basic interpretation and delineation will remain the same, but it might be the intensity of it may not be as strong if you have, or the negative effects may not be quite as bad if you have some aspects that might offset this to some degree. Now, when you have the moon square opposite Venus in Synastry, as I believe I stated before, Venus person may not always love or enjoy that moon person's unconscious, that unconscious side of that, person, the inner personality of the moon person. But let's say that Venus person has their Venus, say, making a sextile or trine to the moon person's ascendant. Now they would show more of a love, toward that person's outer personality, which is the ascendant, the outer demeanor, the side that is more readily and naturally expressed. If the Venus person has their Venus, say, making a sextile or trine to the moon person's sun, the Venus person may really love, be enamored with who the person really is, the true self. The sun is the fundamental basic character and the true self. So you would have to look at that as well. And the thing is, just like I stated before, one negative adverse aspect, is certainly, in synastry, is certainly not the end of the world. It's like, but if you have like a synastry chart and the majority of the aspects are adverse, then you can have, some obstacles to overcome. It can be very difficult. It doesn't mean that the two people can't love each other, but the thing is, there would often be a very large amount of tension that would exist between person A and person B. So, if you have a lot of positive aspects, it increases the chance and propensity to have a more harmonious and compatible connection between person A and person B. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying, stay well.